Hello, hello. Welcome to ToLaw. My name is Alexis. I'm a Haitian American human rights lawyer. Through ToLaw, I'll be demystifying the legal career for aspiring and early career lawyers. Today, we'll be talking about a very popular choice for a career, serving as a clerk to a judge. So, I had no idea what a law clerk was before going to law school. I was shocked to find out that judges do not actually write all of their own opinions. For those of you who don't know, a law clerk provides direct counsel and assistance to a judge by researching issues and drafting legal opinions for cases before the court. Essentially, law clerks are ghostwriters for the judge. They are drafting a lot of the court filings, such as orders and opinions on behalf of judges. Sometimes, as a law clerk, you'll have more of an administrative role rather than partake in a lot of legal research or drafting. This is really going to depend on your judge and on the setting and specialty of the court. Administrative tasks include maintenance of the docket and library, assembling documents, or really any other administrative task necessary to meet the many obligations of the judge. I served as a law clerk for a little over a year. I clerked for a judge at the Virgin Islands Superior Court when I first graduated from law school. I also externed at the Indiana Court of Appeals while I was in law school. Typically, when people are talking about a clerk position, they are referring to postgraduate full-time jobs. You can either be a term clerk where you work generally for a term of 1 or 2 years, or you can be a career clerk with no set term limit. Clerks work for judges at all levels of the state and federal court system, from trial courts to the courts of last resort. In the Virgin Islands, the court system is still a bit muddled because of the history and politics of the Virgin Islands' relationship with the continental United States. It's a very complex history, and I've linked more about it down below if you're curious. All that to say that things operate differently in the Virgin Islands. Even though I clerked in the court of first instance, my caseload also included appellate cases, and when there were too many of the USVI Supreme Court justices that recused themselves from a case, my caseload also included Supreme Court level cases. So there was a lot of variety to my work, which kept things interesting. So clerks work in a court within a judge's chambers. The setup of a judge's chambers is going to vary court by court. In Indiana, for example, there was one room for me and my judge's other 3 clerks and the secretary in the chamber. And then my judge had his own separate office adjacent to us. In the Virgin Islands, there were just 2 clerks per chamber. We each had our own office. The secretary had a desk in the main room of the chamber, and then my judge had his own office. One key thing to note about clerkship life is that you have very few coworkers, 1 secretary, 1 to 3 other clerks. This means that you are becoming very familiar with them as you share pretty close quarters with them for at least 8 hours of the day. On the other hand, the work in and of itself is very solitary. You are plugging away on your cases for the most part alone, occasionally getting feedback from other clerks in the office, and then from the judge once your first draft is ready for their review. So things can get kind of lonely. Your typical day as a clerk is going to involve coming into chambers, picking up a case file, reading everything filed on that case from the beginning, and figuring out, based on what's in there, what the last motion is, what the parties are saying, what the court is supposed to do next. Do you need to decide on a motion that a party has filed? Do you need to call for a hearing? You'll also read through other similar cases to ascertain whether lawyers are citing the law properly or taking too many liberties with the way they are interpreting cases and leveraging them in their filings. So yeah, lots of reading, lots of research and writing as a clerk. Tons of reading, research, and writing. You'll also attend oral arguments, other hearings and trials. If you're in the court of first instance, you'll keep track of what is going on, collaborating with your judge in advance to determine which questions the court needs to ask the parties. Sometimes you may even handle mediations. So if you're into mostly independent work, a steady job, and depending on the court, sometimes a really good salary, this might be the job for you. So there are some key perks to being a clerk. You don't need to be barred in order to be a clerk. This is the major reason why I ended up clerking fresh out of law school. Clerking was not the plan. I graduated in 2020, right into the pandemic, and no one knew when the next bar was going to be. Employers started freezing hiring and rescinding offers. I was in Paris at the time, completing my joint JD LLM degree, and my original plan was to stay in France and try to find work there. But, the world was ending and I felt like I should return home and be with my family. I actually had to return home mid-semester or face being locked down in France and not knowing when I would see my family again. So I pivoted to looking into clerkships as I was graduating, which is unusual. Typically, you want to be planning to clerk months, if not years in advance. And I'll do videos on how to apply for clerkships because there's a lot there. But luckily for me, I had already gotten some clerkship experience as an extern during my 2L year, and I had a solid team of professors who helped me put together a strong application to shop around. The Virgin Islands courts hire clerks a lot later than other courts, and I was able to land a position while the DC bar figured out how it was going to administer the 2020 bar. Um, for my international students out there who are pursuing a JD degree, most state and non continental US clerkships are fair game for you. I've linked some information about this below. Check it out if you're an international student and kind of running up against some of those walls as you try to land a job after graduation. Another great thing about clerking, especially fresh out of law school, is that you are exposed to many different subject areas and sides of the law. You get to see almost every aspect of various civil and criminal matters. As an extern, I worked on cases concerning defamation and probation revocation. And then as a clerk, I worked on cases involving property disputes, including adverse possession, landlord tenant disputes, negligence, battery, medical negligence. My most fulfilling cases were habeas corpus matters, where often pro se incarcerated individuals were asserting that their rights were being violated and that the reasons for or the conditions of their confinement were unlawful. As a clerk, you can really get a sense of what areas of the law really resonate with you. You'll also truly understand how cases operate in practice from filing to conclusion. What you have learned in law school is really going to come to life before your eyes. You'll also have access to all parties in a matter, and you are able to see good and bad arguments made by lawyers and come to an understanding of what is persuasive to a judge. This is probably the most valuable takeaway from this experience. As a lawyer, you will most likely always need to be impressing or persuading a judge and understanding the judicial psychology so that you can make compelling legal arguments that result in good decisions for your clients. Your writing is also really going to improve. You're going to develop and hone so many transferable skills from this experience that will make you a better lawyer. Lastly, clerking allows you to make more money at a law firm. Supreme Court and federal clerks are eligible for signing bonuses at certain law firms into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So do your research and plan early. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and to hit that subscribe button. I hope you found this video helpful. I'll be putting together some more videos so that we can explore the different kinds of careers that are possible together. I will see you in the next one. Bye.